Hello everyone, welcome back. Now, the online world has once again been shaken by a dramatic twist, one that not only exposes a calculated attempt to stir controversy but also highlighted the growing vigilance of community determined to protect the truth. So what began as a simply ordinary circulation of an event ticket quickly turned into a full-blown expose. After a sharp-eyed Squaddie noticed something wasn't quite right, and from that moment, the entire narrative started to unravel in real time. At the center of this unfolding drama was a suspicious ticket that began making round across social media platforms. At first glance, it appeared legitimate, convincing enough to pass as a proof that someone had secure access to an event connected to Meghan. But as the image spread, subtitle inconsistency began to emerge. Font didn't quite match standard format, detail seemed slightly off, and the overall presentation raised more questions than answers. For many, it might have gone unnoticed, but not this time. A dedicated member of the online community, often referred as Squaddies, decided to take a close look. Rather than reacting emotionally or amplifying the claim without verification, they approached the situation with preciousness. Screenshots were analyzed, timestamp was checked, and comparison were made with verified ticket format. What they uncovered was undeniable: the key ticket was fake. According to the receipt they quickly followed, the individual responsible for sharing the ticket was not acting in good faith. Known within online circles as Deranger, this person actually attended to use the fabricated ticket as a tool for infiltration. The plan, as it became clear, was to pose as an attendee, gain promised to the event, and the manufacture or exaggerate incident that could later be weaponized in narrative targeting Meghan. It was a strategic rooted in deception, one that relied on slipping past scrutiny and capitalizing on the chaos that often follow high-profile appearances. But what this individual underestimated was the level of awareness and accountability that has grown within digital communities. In a space where misinformation can spread rapidly, there is also a rising force of individuals committed to challenging it just as quickly. And that is exactly what happened here. The Squaddies didn't just raise concern, they presented clear, methodical evidence. Side-by-side comparison showed discrepancy in design elements. Metadata analysis suggested the image had been altered. Even the supposed event detail failed to align with official information. Piece by piece, the illusion collapsed, leaving no room for doubt. As the truth spread, the reaction was swift and decisive. What was intended to be a covert operation turned into a public embarrassment. The very platform that was meant to amplify a misleading narrative instead became the stage where it was dismantled. The plan didn't just fail, it backfired in the most visible way possible. So in the midst of all this, one thing became increasingly clear. Meghan continued to be a figure who commands attention, not just from supporters, but also from critics who go to extraordinary lengths to shape narrative around her. Yet, ironically, situations like this only reinforce her position. The fact that such elaborate schemes are even conceived speaks volumes about the impact she has and the influence she holds on the global stage. So rather than diminishing her, this moment often highlights the resilience of her public image. Meghan has consistently been subjected of intense scrutiny, but she has also been beneficiary of growing base of supporters who are not only vocal but also vigilant. They are willing to question, investigate, and stand up against misinformation. So qualities that were on full display in this incident. So what particularly striking is how quickly the tide turned. So in previous years, a story like this might have gained traction before being debunked, leaving lasting impression even after the truth emerged. But in this case, the exposure happened almost in real time. So it reflects a shift in how online communities operate, a move towards immediate accountability and collective fact-checking. So this evolution is significant. It shows that while misinformation remains challenged, it is a longer and constated the same platform that can be used to spread falsehood can serve as a tool for transparency and truth. So, and when individuals are willing to engage critically rather than passively consume content, the balance begins to shift. For Meghan, this moment is yet another example of how narrative around her can be manipulated, but also they can be defended. It underscores the importance of not taking everything at face value and the power of community-driven accountability. So in many ways, it is a statement to the environment that has formed around her, one that refuses to let falsehood go unchallenged. As the dust settles, the failed plot serves as a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that attempts to deceive, especially in highly visible space, carry a significant risk. In an age where digital footprints can be traced and claim can be verified within minutes. So the margin for error is slim, and when those attempts are exposed, the consequences are often far more damaging than the intended outcome. Ultimately, what was meant to be calculated move against Meghan ended up reinforcing the very opposite. So it highlighted the strength of her support base, the increasing sophistication of online fact-checking, and the growing intolerance for misinformation. Instead of creating chaos, the incident became a moment of clarity, one that showcased how quickly truth can rise when people are paying attention. And perhaps that's the biggest takeaway. From all in a world where narratives are constantly being shaped and reshaped, the power doesn't just lie with those who create stories, but also with those who question them. In this case, that power was exercised decisively, turned a potential smear into a powerful example of accountability in action. And in the end, this incident doesn't just close another piece of online drama. It stands as a defining example of how narrative can be challenged and corrected in a real time. So it shows that while attempts to undermine Meghan may continue, they're increasingly being met with resistance from people who value accuracy over agenda. So that shift matters because it changes the outcome. Instead of falsehood taking root, they are being uprooted before they can spread, reshaping the digital space into one where accountability has strong voice. And for Meghan, moments like this continue to reinforce a broader truth about her presence in the public eye. Despite constant scrutiny and targeted narrative, her influence remains intact and in many ways strengthened by very effort meant to weaken it. The more these tactics are exposed, the clearer it's become that authenticity and vigilance are winning forces. So what was intended to cast doubt has instead added a growing pattern. When tested, the truth around her continues to stand firm. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.